Development Program for Graduate Studies at Charles Darwin University. Hello, I'm Tara Brabazon, and I'm the Dean of Graduate Studies at Charles Darwin University, and welcome to our Touchstones Beginnings session, how to supervise a student to a quick completion. Now, we all know the best doctorate is a done doctorate, the best master's is a done master's. But what can we do as supervisors to enable a rapid completion for our higher degree students? What can we as supervisors do to help our students submit that thesis quickly while also maintaining quality? This issue really matters, particularly considering the attrition rate of PhD students, because the longer the PhD, the less likely the student is to finish, because life happens. So here are my 20 quick strategies to increase the speed and the momentum of our higher degree students. And we're introducing this at the start as part of a Touchstone Beginnings so that we can implement these strategies from the very beginning of a candidature. So let's go. 20 quick ones. Let's do it. 1. Do a diagnostic in your first meeting. Have an honest and compassionate discussion about the skills that the student possesses and what they would like to develop. Now, I have a startup document that I give to all my students and they fill it in before the first meeting. So that means the students have to think about strengths and weaknesses. And this means we can predict challenges before they emerge. 2. Be absolutely clear on your authorship expectations right at the start, even at the point that a student contacts you about possible supervision. Make sure you understand the Research Code of Conduct for authorship and express your expectations about authorship on published work. Now that means if a student does not like your approach, then they can select another supervisor. In the final year of candidatures all around the world, really bad things happen because the complaints emerge about co-authorship. So the way to stop all these problems and roadblocks in the final year is resolve these issues in meeting 1. 3. Ensure that the assessors for the confirmation of candidature understand that a PhD is a 3-year degree. So very early on, cut away the components of the research that are not necessary. Make sure that the students understand that this is only a PhD. It is not their life's work. 4. Here we go. The more frequent the meeting, the more rapid the completion. Now, we did a study at Murdoch University when I was there as a higher degree coordinator, as a very young person. And we did a study at Murdoch University that revealed one clear outcome from higher degree students. And that was the weekly meetings created a rapid completion. I'll say that again. The weekly meetings created a rapid completion. 5. A characteristic of students that do not complete is that they intermit, that is, they suspend their candidature for a period. Now, what happens is, of course, many do not come back, and if they do, their data set is dated and they lose that propulsion to completion. So, if possible, address and manage any issues and keep the student enrolled and working. 6. Start with the end in mind. Ensure that students are focused on the examination and the examiners right at the start of their candidature. So put the names of prospective examiners on a piece of paper and pin it into their workspace so they know who their audience will be. 7. Ethics clearances must be gained early and well. One of the characteristics of long candidatures is a delayed ethics clearance or a poorly formulated project that requires waves of new ethics clearances all the way through the candidature. So if your student is getting an ethics clearance in their 3rd year, then that is not a well-planned project. 8. Ensure that your students can take effective notes and their information literacy skills are in place. Use the skills and the programs of librarians as early as possible. 9. Little and often written work. Demand some form of written work from PhD students at great regularity if you can, and that creates the groundwork for success. If we're waiting for a whole chapter, we're going to be waiting a long time. 10. Help the student understand that multiple drafts will be required. Completing one draft absolutely is an achievement, but we need to convince them that great quality writing comes from 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 drafts. So teaching them that every article we submit to a journal requires this number of drafts. So find strategies to naturalize editing and convince them that no one does a great or even a good first draft. Good writing is actually based on good editing. 11. Back up information. Ensure that your students have at least 2 separate external hard drives and all their information is stored in 2 separate geographical locations. 12. Make sure that, as early as possible in the candidature, they can start and complete the following sentence. My original contribution to knowledge is... and they finish that sentence. The sooner they can articulate their original contribution to knowledge, the better the project will be. 13. Create a culture for success. Ensure a community of PhD students emerges and they know each other, they talk to each other, they support each other, and that reduces the stress on the very intricate PhD supervisor and student relationship. 14. Keep writing through the candidature. Don't wait for the third data point. Log and write out predictive research, ethics commentaries, research methods, methodologies. 15. Get a first full draft done as quickly as possible. Then a drafting schedule can be put in place to get that thesis to examination. Now, I do what I call 10 draft dialogues with my students. And once we've done those 10 drafts, the student submits. 16. Give students a list of tasks, particularly involving their bibliography or reference lists, that on a really bad day, when they're tired and stressed, at least they're touching the thesis. At least they're doing something important. So have a strategy for the bad day. 17. Every single day, make sure that students specify and achieve a small and achievable goal every single day. So, as I always say, make sure the student touches the thesis every day and they achieve something every day, even if it is correcting a reference. 18. Big one. Try to reduce the complaint culture. My great friend, Professor Graham Turner, once said to me that the PhD is the one time of your life where you can have a good and focused complain and whinge and people have to listen to you. So try to keep the student focused on themselves and their completion rather than complaining about you, their peers, the university, their partner, etc. So keep the focus on the research and the thesis. 19. As soon as possible, start to make their research look like a thesis. So very early on, construct a contents page, have an abstract page, and start to put the chapters into the location where they will be in the thesis. Do that as soon as possible, and that gives students a sense of completion. It also helps supervisors realise when extra work, like an extra chapter, may not be required for a submission. 20. Keep the channels of communication open with the student's family. A characteristic of students who do not finish that is, they suspend or they slow right down, is they have relationship issues with their partner, issue with their family. So in many ways, when we supervise a human, we supervise their entire family, ensure that the family has a sense of what a PhD is and what will be required. Okay, as promised, there were 20 quick suggestions, and you may disagree with a lot of them, and that's terrific. But think about what your suggestions would be to our colleagues. And as always, I welcome hearing from you and talking through your strategies for possible future professional development sessions. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening to Touchstones, our professional development program for graduate studies at Charles Darwin University.